Hey there, Tenno. I'm Shadowscythe, and today we're going to be doing something special. We're going to be doing a side-by-side comparison between the Paris and the Paris Prime. Now, for those of you that know, the Paris is actually a bow that, by all technicality, has three different variants in the game. There's the Paris Prime, the Paris, and as what might be known to veteran players as the prototype, which is the MK1 Paris. Because, just to confirm my suspicions, the MK1, there's almost no difference between the stats of the MK1 Paris and the Paris, other than the damage and like the charge rate. Just for quick reference, here are the base stats of the Paris Prime. A charge rate of 1.0, a crit chance of 45%, status chance of 20, 5 impact damage, 160 puncture, and 35 slash, with a reload of 0.7 and innate punch through of 3.0 at a full charge. Now, the standard Paris, accuracy, charge, same deal. Crit chance is reduced by 15%. Innate punch through at a full charge is at 2.0. Reload is the exact same. Minus 10% status chance. It has higher impact damage of 9.0, but lower puncture of 144 and lower slash of 27. Now, as for the MK1 Paris, which I don't own, so I'm not going to be showing you guys the same build with it. Accuracy 16.7, charge rate of 0.5. The same crit chance as the Paris, the same punch through. Reload of 0.6. A higher status chance of 15%. Higher impact damage over the Paris Prime of 6.0, but less than the Paris of 9.0. And then puncture of 96.0 and slash of 18.0. Now, if you were to cut the impact stat out, since that's it's doing less impact damage than the standard Paris. Now, does it have a few stats that are better than the Paris Prime? Yes. Its charge rate, its reload, and its impact damage. But the Paris Prime, or the Paris in all sense, is a puncture bow, so that impact stat doesn't really mean anything. As for the overall significance between the Paris Prime and the Paris, the MK1 Paris. The MK1 Paris, although it might have a few better stats supplementally, it's doing roughly 27% less damage than the Paris. Anyway, just for easy comparison, what we are going to do is simulate... Kill enemies. I forgot to, So we're gonna pause the AI just so that it's not trying to move on me. And I'll put it at 150 so that we have the highest damage that I can possibly get. I don't think I simulated it this time. Okay. So here he is. Now, after we get... That's not right. That's only showing him at level 15. Kill enemy. Clear. Arid Butcher. Select. Settings. I could have sworn I set you at 150, not 15. Anyway, now that we have that fixed, after I drop him, I will show you the build, and then I will show you it again on the Paris, just for an easy comparison. Now, you guys all saw those numbers, right? I actually didn't read the numbers off, so my dumbass is going to have to do that again. So, there he is. Now, that time I didn't get the strong crit that I did. But 46,720 with the actual critical hit with the orange crit headshot. Where am I going? So as you can see, depending on how strong you crit for with that, you can kill a level 150 Butcher in 1 to 2 shots. But there's those of you that are going to be like, hey, okay, that's a Butcher. Why not show against something that actually has tougher armor? I'm getting to that. So let's get to the Orokin. And where is my corrupted heavy gunner? There it is. Now, I'm not throwing a fucking Eximus in there. I'm not that stupid. I've done plenty of dumb shit in Warframe, but even throwing an Eximus into something like this just for the sheer sense of a test, no. So, as you can see, it's going to take a significant amount without doing something to strip the armor. Which is why I showed it to you with the Butcher, because the Butcher was an easy kill. However, here's the build that I'm using. Serration, Piercing Caliber, Shred, Split Chamber, Paris Critadra, Bane of Grenier, Heavy Caliber, and Vital Sense. I have no need to throw on something like Point Strike, because my Paris Critadra has Point Strike built in. Because as you can see, my Paris Critadra is giving me 196.3% critical chance. At the cost of some damage to Grenier, which is why I have Bane of Grenier in there to supplement it. Now, let me go to my 5 Forma Paris. Now, although the mods are in different places, this is the exact same build. Serration, Piercing Caliber, Shred, Split Chamber, Paris Critadra, Bane of Grenier, Heavy Caliber, Vital Sense. Practically all the same stats. Now, actually, let's add him to the mix too, just so that we have the side-by-side comparison with the super tanky enemy and the relatively squishy enemy. Nope. Let me kill that. Get you in there. The settings are still the same. Simulate. Alright, first up, let's take a shot at the Butcher. 23,573. Single shot, orange crit, took it out relatively easily. Of course, I had a better shot at the head on that one. Let me come over here so I have a better shot at this guy's head. And as you can see, even with my cat fucking stripping the armor because I'm a dumbass and didn't unequip it, I'm doing relatively little damage. In terms of if you're ever against an enemy that high and you're not using some form of, not using something like Tigress or a Soma to just utterly delete something like that, going against it with a bow would definitely be against your better judgment. Let me take my cat off, and we will re-simulate that just to give you guys the real comparison. Yeah. Although I'm hitting it puncture primary, I'm only getting a 1035 crit. Sometimes double because of the multi-shot. So, yeah, I could sit here all day just firing firing arrows into that thing's face, and I wouldn't get anywhere anytime soon. And then, for those of you that would really want to see this with the MK1 Paris, I'm going to do you all a favor. Now, take my impact, my puncture, and my slash damage off of my Paris, and then multiply that by 27% and subtract the two, and there's the damage you'd be getting per shot with the MK1 Paris. Which is exactly why I'm not going to be giving you the general look per shot with that weapon. But if you want to know the numbers exactly without doing this yourself, then allow me. 22, 27. Yeah, so if you were to cut this out, or use the MK1 Paris with this exact build, instead of doing the 2,227 puncture damage per shot, you would be doing 1,625.71 puncture damage per shot. Which, that is a significant chunk. That is just over 600 damage that you're going to be missing per shot. It's really, if I were you, I'd really just trade in the piece of Mastery Fodder MK1 Paris for, at the very least, the Paris. Which, in general sense, most of you might just consider bows Mastery Fodder to begin with, because they don't fit your playstyle. Bows, on the other hand, for me, are about 33% of my playstyle, along with thrown secondaries. So, it's a rather significant chunk. But, thank you guys so much for sticking with me over these many months of me doing these videos for both the highs and the lows. All that continued support really means the world to me. If there's really not much else to talk about here, because this was just another comparison video about a weapon that has multiple variants. This isn't the last video like this. Eventually, once I get to it, I will be doing one on the Ballistica, the Rakta Ballistica, and the Ballistica Prime. But, that's still a little ways away, because I still have some work to do with all of those to get them to relatively even position. So, if you guys like this video for whatever reason, hit that like button and subscribe. If not, be sure to check out some of the other videos on my channel. Be sure to check out my player.me and my Twitter for all things related to YouTube, Twitch, and IRL. Any IRL derp that might be causing some form of delay or cancellation with that day's video or stream. And until next time, Tano, stick to the shadows.